And of course, the federal government of Nigeria has announced that it will commence dry season cultivation of wheat on over 70,000 hectares of land starting from November. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, disclosed that an expected yield of 875,000 metric tons would be derived from the dry season wheat farming, which would be stored in the country's food reserves. Now, the announcement was made during a briefing in Abuja that focused on the way forward for agriculture in Nigeria. Joining me on the news is Adeniyi Bunmi, a founder, Gogreen Impact Africa Initiative, to discuss this. Thank you so much for your time. Well, if you can hear me, let's go ahead with, of course, Observatory of Economic Complexities said in 2021 that Nigeria imported about $3.32 billion of wheat. Now, Nigeria was forecasted by the Global Agricultural Information Network to import about 6 million tons of wheat between 2022 and 2023. Now, a total of about almost 10 billion naira was used to import durum wheat into the country in 2022. But now, the federal government is saying that Nigeria would, in November, cultivate about 70,000 hectares of wheat. What do we make of all of this information, and how do we see it impact generally on food production in the country?
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening. Compared to what we do or what we consume in Nigeria, what we want to do in November is just like scratching. I want to tell you that we have over 1.2 million hectares of land that is suitable for wheat production in Nigeria, most especially in the production region of the northern state. So if we are doing 7,000, it's not even up to 1%, or let's say it's not up to 10% of what we are capable of doing. And considering the fact that we spend a lot of millions, in dollars, importing wheat into Nigeria, I think we should, be deliberate about our efforts to make sure that we produce large wheat, because the amount of money we are spending on wheat importation is so huge. And we have the capacity to some extent to really play at 10% or probably 20% of our consumption. It's so unfortunate that the rate at which we consume wheat in Nigeria is at alarming rate, and it's increasing. In 2023, we've spent a lot, far more than what we did in 2022. So 7,000 or 7,000 is good, but we need to be ready to go as high as 20 to 30% of our available, land that is suitable for wheat. And that's when we can begin to say, yes, we are doing something in the area of wheat production.
All right. Now, from what we can get from what you're saying is that we need to upskill. But let's also talk about the quality of the produce itself. It said that Ukraine has one of the best, if not the best in the world. Now, why is this? Would one say, is it as a result of the weather, the quality of soil, or maybe the process of cultivation? And how can Nigeria improve the quality of the wheat being produced to a competitive scale or competitive output?
Okay, thank you very much. When you talk about the quality, it depends on the variety and the condition at where you are going. But the good news is that this can also grow in any temperamental area which Nigeria falls into. And we have 13 states that can produce good quality wheat in Nigeria, 13 northern states. And we have new frontiers too in the southern region that are also trying to come into wheat production. States like Kwara, states like Kogi, states like Oyo, and the rest, they're also coming into the production. Now, when you talk about the quality, we are not talking about exporting yet. We are talking about self-sustaining, sustaining the volume of what we consume. What do we use wheat for? That's the first question. It's for wheat flour and some other things which we use to produce our confectionaries. And why did it start? Because of our taste or yearning for foreign taste in the area of confectionaries. That is what is increasing our demand for wheat. Now, when we talk about the quality, what we produce here is still okay for what we are doing here. Majorly for when we process them into flour, they can still do our bread, they can still do a lot of things. So the quality thing is not a problem at all because we are producing for us, by us, for us. So we are not talking export because you cannot give what you don't have. You don't even have it. So you are not talking export. We have some cases where we did some small export here and there, but that is not the thing. So in terms of quality, we have what we need. We have the land. We have everything it takes to produce to meet at least, like I said, we should focus on 20 to 50% of our consumption, be producing this locally. And another thing I want us to say, maybe in the course of our discussion, is diversification from this form of flowers. We have alternative to this flower, and that is what we need to look at. As much as we are expanding, we are producing, we also need to begin to develop alternative source of flower. That is the only way that we can really play and help our economy.
All right, quickly in 30 seconds, I want to stay on that. Alternative forms of flour. You talked about diversification. What other areas are there, quickly?
Yeah, the first one is cassava flour. We are the highest producer of cassava in the world. And the beautiful thing is that cassava flour is even gluten-free. So it means that in terms of the benefit, health benefit, is better than that of wheat. Another is plantain flour. For example, when the issue of the Ukraine-Russia started, country like Uganda, they moved into plantain flour, which they call matoke. They started working on it seriously, and today the importation is reducing. The same thing with Ethiopia. So a lot of people are diversifying from their deliberate, it's a deliberate action for you to keep bringing wheat into your country. You need to stop it. If you cannot stop, find alternative to mitigate it, because it's not going to help anybody if we have another problem in another region far away from us and it's affecting us in our country. We have cassava, we have plantain flour, we have a lot of alternative. Cassava is number one because we have it, in large quantity.
All right.
Because we are the highest.
All right. Thank you so much, Adeniyi for your time.
Thanks for having me.